Hi, Marshall.
Hello, hi.
All right, we have 15 minutes to get to know you. Are you ready?
I am. Let's go.
All right, let's start. So tell us, who are you in your own words?
Hi, everybody. I'm Marshall Lim, PAP candidate for Hougang SMC. I guess I'm also now known as the certain PAP candidate
Oh,
who who introduced himself as a fighter.
hmm let's talk about that later. But, let's talk about first why run for Hougang?
Why run for Hougang?
Yeah.
Well, uh, it's really a lot of reasons. Well, but chief of which is because I believe in unity. I believe in people and I believe in connecting people. And that's really one of the core messages that I've been trying to send out to people. Uh, Politics divide us. They do. It's natural in the nature of politics to divide us. But we need to find a way to bridge those differences, to get people to come together, have conversations with each other as opposed to over each other. And if we can do that consistently with care, and with empathy, we can build a better future together.
All right. Let's talk about your, personal as well as professional life.
Sure.
And what are some of the experiences that you've had that allow you to think that you can be a good MP?
Sure. Well, as a criminal lawyer, I have learned a lot of things, most important of which is not to jump into stereotypes, not to jump into conclusions. Be curious, be inquisitive, be investigative. Don't take things at face value. I think these are the qualities that are important in being an MP. And that is the stuff that I'll bring with me from my job, from my life into Parliament.
Right. What are some, personality traits maybe, or attributes you have that you feel like will help you in your journey if you become an MP?
Yeah. That's exactly as I've discussed, but perhaps the defining quality, if I can call it that, is I've learned to listen and to sit with you without judgment. I've learned to take in information and to see things from your perspective. And that helps me a lot in advocating for people because it is about their stories which I'm trying to tell.
Mm.
Yeah.
So I understand that you're a lawyer, and there's a lot of different types of lawyers. So what type of lawyer are you?
I'm a criminal lawyer. I've been one for quite a while now. Yeah.
Okay, and what do you do in that role?
So I defend people who face criminal charges in court. Uh, and what that really means is that I speak up for them. I tell their stories. I explain the circumstances in which they got into trouble. And in situations where I think, after assessing all the facts and the evidence that there is a good case to fight, we'll fight it. We'll fight it vigorously. We will fight it passionately. And when in situations where, we have to seek leniency from the court in terms of getting a better outcome, we do that with passion, with vigor, with grit and gumption as well. And that is always about putting forward your client's perspectives, his story, his circumstances, and allowing that to permeate the decision making process.
Right. So I guess a lot of people say like, oh, like lawyers and what they're like so out of touch, they're elite. Would you say that you are in touch with the ground?
Well, I would say that a part of it comes with a sincerity of wanting to understand the people that you serve,
Mm-hmm.
whether it is as a lawyer or in any other profession, right? The tendency sometimes can be to square away in a space that's comfortable to you. But I think my approach has always been that you need to approach your clients with sincerity. You need to listen to them with empathy, not with judgment, not with the feeling that you want to rebut them, right? But you want to understand the root causes of their situations. It's only then you can truly empathize with their situation and then provide solutions to them. So that keeps me grounded. That honesty in the relationship with my clients.
Mm. So what made you want to join politics? Actually, I'm curious.
Because yes, well, in my profession, we help people.
Mm-hmm.
It's service,
Mm-hmm.
but we can only do so for one client at a time, one case at a time. And I felt I wanted to contribute to society at large, and that really required me to take a different role, and hence politics.
Right. And I guess the idea now is, you have so many different parties to choose from.
Mm.
Why exactly the PAP?
So it it comes down to I think leadership, right? And if it's not already obvious by now, SecGen Lawrence Wong is somebody who appreciates and welcomes diversity of opinions, even dissenting ones.
Mm.
He takes all these opinions together, he considers them very carefully, and he comes to a decisive and clear decision, and he makes them. And in a world today that is dominated by chaos, uncertainty, this is the type of clear, decisive leadership that we need.
Mm-hmm.
And well, for the party, it's always had a very clear moral compass, and it is also decisive in dealing with situations of people when we fall out of line, right? We make a mistake, and the party is straightforward, is upfront with the people, and it deals with it in a very decisive manner. Now, that is the type of leadership that I admire, and hence the PAP.
Got it. So, if let's say you get, elected into parliament, what are some issues or maybe one issue that you will, be focusing on?
I'll be honest with you. It's my conviction that uh, the first and foremost duty or passion of an MP has to be the causes of his constituents. That's where I place the heaviest priority, the first priority.
Okay.
That is the constituents' concerns and causes. That has to come ahead of all my personal interests or passion.
All right. And if let's say you were to, see yourself representing a particular sector of community, or society, really, which sector will that be?
Okay. Well, I I would like to represent the part of society that is tired of
Okay.
knuckle
So,
duster style politics.
okay. I thought you were gonna say tired. Then I say me. That's me. No, okay.
Yes,
Of
who's
knuckle duster politics.
knuckle
Let's
duster
dive into that.
politics?
Yeah.
Yes, I want to represent people who believe that politics is about conversation, reasoned conversation, who believe that politics is about uh, deploying logic, reason, discourse, debate, data, and emotions are data too, right? So we got to take that into account, right? But the knuckle duster style politics, I think that has to go.
Right. Can you explain what knuckle duster style politics is for a lot of us? Because not a lot of people understand that. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, think about anything that is not about sitting down and having a conversation,
Okay.
right? And the way I conceive politics is that it is a way to bring people together. As counterintuitive as that might be, because politics has the tendency of dividing people. You've got to make a choice come
Mm-hmm.
the 3rd of May, for example, in
Mm-hmm.
Singapore. But we do not have to allow that tendency to determine how we conduct politics. Politics can be a conversation. It can be sitting down and discussing about ideologies or principles or values or opinions over a cup of coffee. It can be passionate. It can be uh, even driven by emotion, but it cannot be defined by it, right? And it's about making that attempt to listen carefully to the other person and wanting to understand the perspectives of the person that you're speaking to. A lot of times we listen because we want to rebut. We listen, we are waiting for that aha moment. I catch you and I say, aha, that is why I disagree with you, right?
Mm.
And we do that a lot. But what I really want and conceive politics to be is two people or more people sitting down together in groups or otherwise, having a conversation about their vision of the good. Everybody wants the best outcome for Singapore. We might have the different pathway leading to it, right? And politics should be a way for us to sit down and have that conversation.
Right. And how do we create that space? Because I guess when it comes to young people, a lot of them are saying that, we maybe don't really feel heard. So, what, in your opinion, how can we go about creating that space that allows for conversations to be held?
By inviting conversation,
Okay.
right? So you cannot create artificial communities. That doesn't work. You have to be the font of that community. You first have to be receptive of opinions, even opinions that you may intuitively disagree with because you have prior beliefs or prior values, but you must listen, right? And you build that community around you, and you, it's almost like a protective space, right? Where people can come to you knowing that you may disagree with them, right? But you are willing to give them opportunity to be heard. That is the starting point of community.
5 minutes. Okay. Yeah. So I guess that leads into my next question, which is, what would that ideal Singapore look like to you?
Wow. It's the ideal Singapore would uh, emanate care and empathy. It's unity. These sound like really big words, but it really is about coming together, the sense of coming together. It's about pluralism.
Mm-hmm.
We advocate strongly for our beliefs, but it doesn't mean that we abandon them when we accommodate differences. That is, I think, an important thought because we want a diversity of opinions. It is that diversity that gives us our strength, just as we are diverse as a people. But we need to find a way to have those conversations without hurting each other. Politics is not seen usually as the platform to do it, right? Politics is often seen as divisive, but this is why there is a need for us to have those conversations in a sincere way, in a determined way, in a deliberate way, where we sit down and we commit to the process of listening.
Mm-hmm.
And if you can do that consistently, we can build a bridge between different factions, different ideologies, different beliefs. That
Mm-hmm.
is the starting point.
Right. So I guess more and more so you talk about pluralism, and I think that it is, how I would define society today. And being in your position, if you get elected as an MP, you will be able to speak to so many different sectors of society as well, right? So, like, how do you make sure that people who maybe are left out will feel included? Actually.
Well, you've got to invite them to the conversation,
Mm-hmm.
right? And that means you've got to look beyond your immediate community, beyond your immediate comfort zones, beyond the groups of people that you typically hang out with, and include. And that is not a bad word, right?
Mm-hmm.
Be inclusive, because inclusive when you are deliberate about being inclusive, when you bring people together, you realize that there's a strength in gathering everyone together, because
Yeah.
those diversity of opinions give you different viewpoints for you to consider how you can try to fit these different pieces of puzzles together. You may not succeed, but the endeavor is very important. We have to try and try very, very hard to make that happen.
All right. Let's talk about the GE. We're in the middle of it. I'm sure it's very insane. So how has this experience been for you so far?
Wow, it's been enriching. It's been humbling. I've been walking around talking to residents. Many of them have expressed support. Many of them have wished me well. I carry with me all the well wishes that I've received. They motivate me when the days are long, when I'm tired. I listen to people's opinions, even people who disagree with me, because I want to understand how I can bridge that divide. For me, politics, and I think it deserves repeating, right? It's not just about sides. It's not about color either. It's about the desire to build something better for Singapore. And we have to be very determined to do that, right? And if you want to convey it, as I do, I want to be sincere in my connections with people. I want to be sincere in my communications with people. I want to reach out widely without sacrificing the quality of the conversation that I have with anyone, who speaks with me.
All right. And your comment on Hougang people being fighters, it's gotten a lot of attention this election. Would you still, describe them as fighters?
Yes, yeah, we are fighting for. It's not physical violence that I'm talking about. We are fighting for unity. We're fighting for hope. We're fighting for community. Now, these are things that are worth fighting for, right? These are aspirational things. Am I an idealist? Perhaps I am, but I really believe that there is a lot to be done, or rather, a lot that can be done when we look beyond our differences. We can't paper over them; they will be there. We recognize them, but there has to be an attempt to look across the aisle and say, "You are my friend. You are my neighbor. You are Singaporean. We are humans. Let's get together and let's try to make a difference together.
That's it.